Hello everyone! We're getting all set up. Today is Monday, the 13th of January. Coming to you today with a live Inkscape tutorial. Today we're going to be messing with the text tool and some gradients. So if you have a few minutes and you'd like to join in, come on in. I'm also testing out the live chat that you might see here or there. And hopefully your messages will show up on the screen. We'll see how that goes. And yeah, I have been messing around with some text tools, and I came up with a little tutorial that I think you might find useful. I wanted to share a picture with you. Let me see if I can pull that up while we have no one here. So if you're here, I would love it if you said hello. Let's see, let's call that image. I'm going to find a little sticker that I created, because you might be wondering, what can you do with the text tool? So I thought I'd show you before we get started a little sticker that I created for my daughter. Let me make that smaller and smaller. Smaller. I'm hoping that that's showing up on the screen. Hello Diane, how are you? Here is the little sticker. Hello everybody. Hello Harlan. Ellie, you were just watching the intro to Inkscape. Today we're going to be doing text. I'm wondering, let me check to see if you see on the screen. Yep, you see on the screen this little sticker. This is a sticker that I made with my brother's Scan and Cut. So I'm going to show you how you can make that today. Hello everyone. So great to see you. So let me hide this sticker now that you see what this is. I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see really well. So that is what we're going to make today. Phyllis, this is your first time. I'm so glad you're here. I don't know if you have installed Inkscape onto your system. Today I'm using version 0.91. There's several different versions to download. And I'll put a link to Inkscape in the description box after we're done. And or you can go to inkscape.org and download from there. It is a free software that you can use, and that's what we're doing today. In today's video, the font that I'm going to be using is called Boys R Us. I think there's a link. If I did it right, I put it down in the description box. It'll bring you over there. This font is free for personal and commercial use, and so that's really important when downloading fonts off of the internet. Is you want to check the licensing and see what you can do with the fonts that you download to your computer before you design something. But this is a free for commercial and for personal use font. If I did it right, you should be able to open the description box and click on the link, and it brings you over to the site that I downloaded that from. So great to see you. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. I'm going to try to move quickly through this because I want to keep this tutorial straight to the point. And if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. When I have my screen sharing Inkscape, I will not be able to see your comments or your questions, but I'll check back before we're done at the end of this video. And if you're watching the replay, then just ask your questions down in the comment section, and I'll try to be as quick as I can getting back with you. So let me go ahead and switch over my screen. It's going to look a little crazy for a second. And here I have Inkscape open. Okay, I just pulled up what we're making so that you can see an example of exactly what I'm making. Let me just make sure we're still going, because I always get nervous switching things around. Okay, so this is what we're making. I'm also going to, if you can hold on one second, I'm going to pull you up on my phone just to make sure that we're still streaming and that we're still going because I don't want to be talking to myself. Okay, there we go. That's my little safety net. Okay, you see what we're going to create today. I did this with the text tool and with the gradient tool. And let me go ahead and clear off my screen. I'm going to just bring this down right to the bottom corner so that we have an example of what we are creating together. So here is my blank document. When I open a new document, I always go to File and Document Properties, and I hide my box on the screen. To me, it's just a distraction until I'm ready to print. So I have hidden that page border in Display Properties, and so if you open your Inkscape and it looks different than mine, that is why. Oh, stop doing that. Okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and begin, and this time I will type my own name out, Lisa Capen Quilts. To type text out on your screen, there is a left menu with a big A. If you hover over top of it, it says Create and Edit Text Objects. You click on that and you can click anywhere in your desktop and start typing. Now I've typed out my name. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that we can see it well. I'm going to grab this corner arrow and holding the control button down, I'm just going to make my text a little bit bigger so that we can see it. Let me go in and fix this because I messed up in a little typo. If you want to edit your text, you can just double click right on your text and it lets you go within your text and change any of your letters. While we have the text option selected and we are working within our text, I want you to notice this little menu right at the top of my screen. This is where I can change all of my fonts, any of the fonts that are on my computer. I can change the font size. A lot of the fonts give you options like bold and italics, thin, thick, depending on the font that you're working with. You can do a line left, a line center, a line right. I never use these two settings right here. If you have several lines of text, you can adjust the spacing here. The next one over, you can adjust the spacing between your letters, and let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to decrease the amount of space. Sometimes you might have to highlight it. You ever notice that when you're doing a tutorial, things don't work exactly right the first time? I have my text selected and I'm just pushing right on this bottom arrow with the spacing between my letters, and it's bringing all of those letters in closer. You can do that. You can adjust the spacing between your words. You can adjust the kerning of all of your letters. Those are all things that if you have Inkscape and you want to experiment with all of these options, type out some text, click on those arrows up and down and see what all it does. Just a great way to learn how to use the program. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see exactly what we're doing here. Now when you type out some text on your workspace for Inkscape, if you wanted to print this out, you could go ahead and print that out. If you want to cut this out with a cutting machine, you need to assign a path to your letters. We're going to print this out on a label sheet. However, I want to go ahead and assign a path to these letters so that we can manipulate them just the way that I'm going to show you now. When I say a path, I'm talking about little nodes around the outline of each one of our letters. On this left toolbar, right underneath of the arrow, Edit Paths by Nodes if you select that with your text selected, you will notice that no little red line shows up on the outline of your letters, and there's no nodes that tell the path and direction of each one of your letters. With your word selected, we're going to go up on the very top bar and we're going to select path. We're going to choose the first option, object to path. Once you click on that, let's go back to the nodes, and now you'll see when you click on each one of your letters, it has been assigned nodes. If you wanted to cut this out with a cutting machine out of vinyl or fabric or paper, cardstock, you could now do that with your cutting machine. One of the reasons I like to do that is because now we can manipulate and regroup our text. You know what? I meant to change the font first. What I've done is I've gone back before we changed it to nodes. I'm going to change the font to Boys Are Gross, and I meant to do that before we did that, and I forgot. Let me find Boys Are Gross. Here we go. There we go. All right, now with our letters selected, we can go to path, object to path, and now you'll see each one of our letters is on a path. One of the reasons I like to do that is because now I can manipulate each one of these letters and move them around and arrange them in a really fun and creative way. I'm going to click on Lisa Capen Quilts, and you'll notice it groups all three words together. On my mouse, I'm going to right click, a menu will pop up, and I'm going to select ungroup. You can also do that in the, let's see, object menu right up at the top of your screen. Once you've ungrouped all of your letters, now you can see you can select on each one of your letters individually and move them around. So I like to get really fun and creative. I'm going to drag my L and make it bigger. We can play with the placement of each one of our letters just by clicking on the letter. I'm holding the control button down and then dragging one of the arrows on the top corners. This will keep your letter proportionate and resize it all at the same time. Just going through, resizing each one of my letters and moving them on the screen, and that's just going to take me a second. So I'm curious, while I'm doing this, who all has downloaded Inkscape and started messing around with it? Have you created a file that you've used in your studio yet? Just out of curiosity's sake, trying to fill in the empty time as I readjust each one of these letters. Alright, that looks pretty fun. I'm going to move this right out of the way. I'm going to make this C a little bit bigger. I'm going to select these 4 letters by holding the shift button and selecting each one, and then I can move that as one grouped section. I'll select the C now and move that up. Sometimes if you want to select a bunch of letters all at one time, you can draw a box around them with your mouse. Now it has selected 6 objects, and we can move them all at once just like this. There, that looks fun. That looks like something I'd put on a t-shirt, right? So now we have this block solid fill inside of each one of our letters. In a previous video, I have shown where you can adjust the fill and the stroke of your designs, and so that's what we're going to be using again. I'm going to draw a large box around each one of my letters. If you want to double check that, right down at the bottom of your screen, it'll say 15 objects selected, and so you know everything is selected. We're going to go to this bar right here, and we're going to open Edit Objects, Fill and Stroke. With them all selected, I'm going to come into the Fill tab, and I'm going to turn off the fill. At this point, it's going to look like everything disappeared, and that's because these letters have not been assigned a stroke, a little line around the outside edge of each one of those letters. So let's go in the next tab, Stroke Paint, and we will turn on the stroke paint, and now you'll see that our stroke has been assigned, and you can see each one of the letters. You can also adjust your stroke width with the third tab, and you can make that wider if you would like. So let's go ahead and do that and make it a little bit more bold. So there we go. There is our design with no color added to it. Now it's really fun when it looks like this. However, you notice that some of the letters are overlapping, and I would like to merge them all together. In one of our previous tutorials, we talked about the union tool and what it does. It combines 2 objects into one, and we created a snowman together. We're going to be using that same tool to combine each one of our letters, and it'll get rid of this little overlap where you see the I and it's overlapping on the L. It'll make that one solid object. So to do that, we're going to do that each one by one. I'm going to select the L, hold down the Shift button and select the I. We're going to go up to the top, Path and Union. Now you'll see that little line has disappeared. It's made that into one object. It still has that object selected, so I'm going to hold down the Shift button and select our S, go to Path and Union. Now it's joined the S. I'm going to hold down the Shift button and select our A, Path and Union. Now you'll see that the word Lisa is all merged into one complete object. You could cut this out in vinyl or on paper or with fabric, and it's going to be one continuous piece, minus the little circle in the A and the little dot over the I. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that with our next word, Capen. We'll select those and Union, select our P, Path and Union, E, Path and Union, and our N, Path and Union. Let's move down to Quilts, Path and Union. Remember to select each one individually as you're going along. And our last letter is the letter S. And now Quilts is all one solid object. Just like that. So now we can look at filling this. Let's say if you wanted to cut this out in vinyl, or you want to make this into an applique and you want to send this to your cutting machine and cut it out in fabric, you're absolutely ready to go. You have your nodes along each one of your lines. That tells your vinyl cutter where to go, and so you'd be ready to go. for this, we're going to pretend like we're making a sticker, just like I did with Bethany's sticker for her car. And we're going to print this out on a label sheet and then cut it out with our vinyl cutter, a sticker. Let's go ahead and fill this with a gradient because I've shown you how to do a solid fill in a previous tutorial. Let's go ahead and mess with some gradients. So I'm going to select all three objects now, Lisa, Capen, and Quilts. I have them all three selected and I want to group them together as one object. Okay, so I'm going to go up to this top menu. I'm going to go to Object and hit Group. Now that is one object. You can move it around and all of the letters, all of the words are going to move around as one. You'll see we have a solid fill, which you can choose from any of the colors down here on this wheel. You can also make it transparent if you like. But then I want you to see the two buttons to the right of that is a linear gradient and a radial gradient. And of course you can play around with that and experiment with all different kinds of ways to use those. But you'll see the linear gradient comes in from one side to the other, light to dark, and the radial gradient gets dark on the inside and lighter towards the outside. That is also adjustable, and that's some of the things that you can play around with, because with our object selected we can go right down to the left menu, and that is Create and Edit Gradients. If you click on that, it's going to show you your gradients. You're going to see this little box here. It's a box, and then on the other side it's a circle. If you play around and you drag these boxes, you'll see the shade of the gradient changes. You can move it so that it's more dark and progresses really quick into light, or you can drag it out so it stays light most of the way and goes into a gradual, very light fade. Let's go ahead and put it right there. You can also move this circle and so that most of your text will be white, and then do a gradient from the middle or wherever you place this circle. So you just click on it and drag it, and you can adjust the gradient. Now that's how you do a one color gradient. Let me show you how you can change the colors. We can do this with two different colors. So let me click on this little square part of our gradient, and let's go down and click on green. Now you'll see that it has changed the left side of our text to green. Let's click on this little circle and let's change that to purple. And just like that, we've added two colors to our gradient. Again, you can adjust how the gradient looks just by clicking and dragging either the circle or the square. You can bring it in from the bottom, you can move it this way until you find a way that the gradient is exactly what you're looking for. So yes, there's our sticker. And now if I wanted to print this off, let's go ahead and pretend we're going to print this as a sticker. I'm going to open up my document properties. I'm going to show my page border again. I'm going to click onto my design and I'm going to shrink that. I like working big and then resizing. And because this is a vector-based software, we can do that without losing any quality of our print. I'm going to move this right onto our page. One thing, reducing it, you'll notice that my outline stroke did get wider. So I'm going to go back into fill and stroke and reduce, if it'll let me. There we go. It's just taking a minute for it to think about what it's doing. So just like that, I've created a sticker that I could print out on a label sheet. Then I could move the label sheet onto my cutting mat for my brother's scan and cut. I could scan this into my brother's scan and cut, do a direct cut, and cut this out as a sticker. I could also print this out on fabric and put this into a quilt, which is really fun. I could print this out on cardstock and use it in a journal or a book. All kinds of ways that you could use this. So let me come over and see if y'all have any questions while I have Inkscape up, and if you do, then maybe we can go over that. Let me see. There we go. Wow, it's so great to see everybody. Brenda, yes, I'll show you step by step how I made my logo, but it's a little bit more of a detailed tutorial, and I really wanted to start like at the beginning with basic shapes and lines and text and how to use the union tool, how to use the difference tool, because all of those things are tools that I used to create my logo. So I figured we better start small and work our way up to the logo. So I have a question. Can you see the chat on the side of the screen? It's probably really, really tiny. Ella, it does print in those colors. Now, depending on your printer, it might vary a little bit. Let me show you. Let's see. Here is share screen, Inkscape. Here is the Bethany file that I created. And then, let's see, go back, chat screen, and let me show you the sticker. There's the sticker. That's the actual sticker that's printed out on label paper. And so that's the two differences between what my computer screen shows and how it printed. So it's very close. It might be a little bit different, but it's pretty close. If you're printing on fabric, that again depends on the thread count, how smooth your fabric is, on the colors, how they show up on the fabric. Yes, Cricut works with an SVG file. Is that correct, Bernadette? As long as you can work with an SVG file, then what we created in Inkscape, you can save that as an SVG. Let me show you how to do that. Share screen, Inkscape. So if you want to save this to print it out as a sticker, you can go to File, Save As. I usually save everything to my desktop first. In this Save As file type, choose PDF. We're going to call this Lisa Capen sticker and save that as a PDF. Hit OK. And now on my desktop is a PDF of this. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Let's say you want to create this as an SVG to send to a Cricut or Brother or Silhouette. Go to File, Save As. I'm going to still call this Lisa Capen sticker. And in the file type now, if you choose plain SVG and save, that is now an SVG file. Let me show you how that works. I'll open up my Brother Canvas workspace. I know Cricut works in a different software, but yeah, as long as you can open up an SVG file, then you're good. I always forget my login. Hopefully that's correct. We'll see here in just a second. No. Hold on, let me look at my password. Oh, goodness. I thought I had it right. There we go. I don't want to upgrade right this second. So I'm just opening up a new file in Canvas Brother Workspace. Thank you, Brenda, for confirming that yes, you can use it with Cricut. With the Brother, this is what it would look like. Desktop. And there we go. So there's my SVG, and of course you can manipulate it in your cutting software as well. So let's pull you down and I'll show you the PDF, because we also saved it as a PDF to print it out. And so if you're printing on fabric or on label or sticker paper or cardstock, then I usually save it as a PDF. And this is what it looks like. And of course I would print from here. I like using Adobe Acrobat Reader to open my PDFs and my patterns. And so now I could print this out. There we go. All right, I hope that that was helpful. Again, I think that anytime you're learning a new software, you really just need to go in and you need to experiment. You need to work with the tools and learn what they do for yourself, because I can show you here in these tutorials. But if you're someone like me, it doesn't actually start making sense and really sinking in and starting to stick up here until I actually do it and I go in and I start playing, and that's when my brain really starts to grab a hold of all of the information and I start retaining it, and really it starts making more sense when I actually do it. Yes, Ella, I have quite a few printing on fabric videos that you can check out. Using freezer paper, using, here lately I've been using label pages to print, and yeah, how to color fast it, heat set it. So I've been experimenting with my new color laser printer. And I don't know if you can see right down here is Harlan's Artisan 1430, which you can, I believe, buy sublimation ink for. So I'll be learning how to convert his printer into a sublimation printer. So yeah, we're going to be doing all kinds of fun stuff coming up this year. I think I need to make the chat box bigger so that I can actually read, because that is so tiny. Do you think that that's really tiny on the side of the screen? Hello everybody. It's so great to see you all here. Brenda, you're so welcome. If you have specific questions, maybe you can type them in the comment section of the video so that we can see them when this video is done, and maybe I can include those topics in a future tutorial. That would be great. And if you are trying to do something and I haven't made a video about it, You can always send me an email, lisacapenquilts@gmail.com. You can join me on Facebook, search for Lisa Capen Quilts and send me a message there. I've helped quite a few people out in the last few days on Facebook, and it's pretty quick. I don't always have time to make a tutorial, but if you have a question, I can usually jump on it within the same day. It's so great to see everybody. Uh, I think I've gotten all the specific questions. We'll stay just 3 or 4 more minutes longer. If you have a question specific to text or gradients, then we can go over that. Ella, your sister-in-law does sublimation. Yeah, that's something I've been looking into the last 3 or 4 months. I have not done it. But I've been looking into it, and recently Harlan got me a heat press for Christmas, and so of course I've been printing on fabric for years, and I'm always looking for new ways to do that. I hear sublimation is an awesome way to put photos on fabric and really any kind of image on fabric, so that'll be a learning process for me. I see viewer chats on your YouTube screen, but my chat box shows your viewer chats very well. Yeah, I think there's some delay between what you see on the screen and what you see in the chat box, and it's much easier to read the comments on my phone. So I think I still have some experimenting to do with making the comments bigger on the side of the screen. I really want to be able to put the comments up on the screen so that even if someone's watching on the replay, they get to see who all was here and see your questions and your comments. And so I'm learning something new. So yeah, I think I need to make that bigger though, so it's easier to read, even with my bifocals. I'm having a hard time reading the little tiny font on the screen. Looking at my phone, I know that I would not be able to read the comments. And so, yeah, I'm sorry about that. But if you're watching the replay, there's a little button usually that says live chat. And if you click on that, you'll be able to see all the comments and the questions that came through during the live chat. And of course, if you have questions and this is the replay, please feel free to go down to the comments section and ask your question there. Okay, y'all, it is 4 o'clock. I am done with my work day. I hope this was helpful. Again, open up Inkscape. If you have not downloaded it, inkscape.org. I will put a link to that because I know there's not one in the description box right this minute. If you're interested in the Boys Are Gross, the free font that we used to create our design today, there's a link to that in the description box. And yeah, I hope this was helpful. Can't wait to see you all next time. I hope you have an awesome evening and a great week. It's Monday. I started a new t-shirt quilt, and we're finishing up the blocks for the mystery quilt this week too, so that's exciting. And yeah, I hope you have an awesome night. See y'all really soon. Bye.